What's up, Planeswalkers? It's your boy K-Dog, back in Standard with an Abzan mid-range list. So this one, basically just kind of playing a lot of good stuff. So lots of 1s and 2s, things like that. Just lots of kind of value at their respective slots. But there's some pretty decent synergy going on. And Abzan, just a fun color to play in. So here's what we got going on. We got 3 copies here of Bloodchief Thirst, just good removal here. 3 copies of Nullpriest of Oblivion, just fantastic creature at any point of the game. Obviously turn 2 gives you a menace lifelinking threat. If you top deck this later on, it's a kicker threat that still comes out as a 2/1 menace lifelinker, but it gets one of your creatures back straight to the battlefield. A couple copies of Scavenging Ooze, gives us some nice graveyard hate in the main deck. 3 copies of Chevill. Obviously 1/3 Death Touch is nice defensive creature. However, the card draw and the life gain is why we're running 3 copies, because that's just fantastic in the early game, because Abzan, we have plenty of good removal. 3 copies of Murderous Rider is some of that removal, along with 3 copies of Mythos of Nethroi. Murderous Rider pretty flexible, hitting creatures and planeswalkers, and then Nethroi lets us hit basically anything, any non-land permanent, as long as we spend Abzan colors on it. Couple copies here of Grakmaw, just a fantastic creature here that can grow if they target your Chevill or any other creatures instead of it. And when they do finally get around to killing it, it replaces itself with however many counters on it. That's how big of a creature you get left behind. And of course, synergize well with the Basri's Lieutenant as well, which are running 2 copies. 3/4 Vigilance, Protection, multicolored is pretty sweet. And it gets a counter on something when it comes down, and whenever a creature with a counter on it dies, you get a 2/2 White Knight token with a Vigilance. A couple Hagra Mauling gives us some protection from flooding out by playing a removal spell. That can also be a land. A couple copies of Quest and Beast, of course, just a fantastic card. 1 copy here of Nissa. She's pretty sweet here because we do have plenty of creatures that we can reanimate with her -5. And obviously, as a mid-rangey list, we're going to be playing a fair number of lands to get to the top end of our curve. So it's a pretty sweet option overall. And since we are playing a fair amount of creatures, being able to make a 3/3 land, 3/3 creature with Menace as a land, that's pretty fantastic. 1 copy here of Polukranos. Just kind of gives us some protection from like the mill strategies. Obviously, we can just escape it. Obviously, against removal, we can escape it as well. So it gives us some protection there. And just having a 4 mana, basically 6/6 that can fight things is pretty sweet. 2 copies here of Baneslayer Angel. It's a really sweet card here. Kind of surprised it hasn't really seen more play, but just kind of shows you the just how crazy power creep is. That card like Baneslayer Angel just is mediocre. But yeah, here it is. Fantastic creature though. I mean, 5/5 flying, first strike, lifelink, protection from dragons. So Terror of the Peaks. It's a pretty good card overall. So as Elspeth conquers death, being able to exile something is pretty important. And then, of course, getting one of your creatures or planeswalkers back, since we're running Nissa, and, of course, 2 copies here of Vivien, to go along with our 2 copies of Elder Gargaroth to round out the top end of our curve here. Gargaroth, of course, is a fantastic creature all around. So much value on attacking and blocking if you can kind of get even 1 or 2 of those. So some card draw, go wide. Just useful against aggro, control, just such a variety of matchups. Vivien, Monsters Advocate. Since we are running a fair amount of creatures, she'll let us cast creatures off top of our library and kind of chain creatures together with her -2. Or if we just want to go wide, maybe we need to rebuild, we can just +1 and just keep making 3/3 beast tokens. We also have a couple of these spell lands, which really top out our curve at 7 mana, but it just kind of depends on where you're at in the game. But obviously, since we are going to trying to get a little bit higher up on the curve, it's definitely feasible to cast these and get some real value off of either one of these 7 mana sorceries. Emeria's Call, of course, makes our creatures indestructible until our next turn and makes 2 4/4 angels. Well, all non-angels get indestructible, so our Baneslayer Angel, unfortunately, is not protected by it. But getting a couple 4/4s and everything else is indestructible is pretty fantastic. 2 copies of Turntimber Symbiosis. Digging 7 cards deep and choosing your best creature from among them to put straight onto the battlefield. And if it is a 1/2 or I guess 2 or 3 drop in our case, since we don't have any 1 mana creatures, it comes in with 3 additional counters on it. So of course, Grakmaw now becomes a 6/6. Pretty sweet. Mana base here, the rest of the mana base is 1 plains, 1 swamp, 1 forest. Just nice having 1 of each basic, just in case your opponent is running some kind of Field of Ruin shenanigans, not completely caught off guard. 3 of the Brightclimb Pathways, 3 of the Branchloft Pathways, 2 Temple of Silence, 4 Temple of Malady, 2 Temple of Plenty, and all 4 of the Indatha Triomes. Sideboard here, we got a couple of Chainweb Brackners, of course, works really well against the Rogue lists in particular. 2 copies of Soulguard Lanterns, additional Graveyard Hate. 3 copies of Agonizing Remorse for the control matchups. Banishing Light for some versatile exile removal. And Garrick's Harbinger works fantastic against Rogues or any other decks that are very heavily into black removal, like Mono Black, of course. A couple of Shadow the Skies. Could maybe consider Extinction Event here, but since we have ways to recur our creatures, we don't necessarily want to exile them, so we're just going to run 2 copies of Shadow the Sky. And we'd have E2 Extinction for some additional exile removal. Of course, this only hits creatures and planeswalkers. That's the list. We'll jump into some matches. Alright, against Spirit Monger. Guess we do have 3 lands, so we'll keep. Take another land here. Turn 1 Radiant Fountain into Ozolith. It's curious. Nullpriest gives us something to play here on 2. Okay. Some mono black artifacts, I guess. And opponent holding party with their Shadow Spear. Gotta love it. Stuck on lands. Well, they have some kind of a removal spell. Sure they do, so we'll put the counter on the Lieutenant here. It's tempting to put it on the Nullpriest, but black mana untapped tells me they have a removal spell. Or not. And we'll go ahead and kill it. Play the Symbiosis since we're a ways from actually casting it. So, Murderous Rider means we couldn't play the Chevill as well, but we do get Gargaroth next turn. They hit us perfectly on 2 and a 4 drop there, so I gotta love that. Not very often when you get real value off an Extinction event. Okay, you're playing Shadow Spear and Ozolith. But you're also running Sweepers in your main deck. So they finally play a creature. Okay, so there's mono black artifacts. Ugin, I'm sure. It's super clever. So they got Death Touch, Vigilance, Lifelink. Unfortunately, we don't have a way to deal with this, so we're just going to swing through it and make a 3/3. I could cycle here and maybe try to dig into something or remove a spell, but don't think it's worth it. We'll Chevill and Grakmaw, then next turn we can Nullpriest and get back a Gargaroth. So that's pretty decent value, I would say. Well, up to 5 lands, so they're still a little ways from Ugin. Won't be surprised if they had one in hand here. Yeah, you got yourself a 5/5. Bloodchief service is pretty good though. just do that. Well, we can get a nice clean attack here for 7. So we have lots of exile removal. We'll hang on to the Murderous Rider here. There's no way we just kill them straight up like this. Okay, they had a Ugin, but no way to play it, I would imagine. I mean, Chevill's pretty nice, but they're not really running a whole lot of creatures, and I think I'd rather just run Agonizing Remorse instead. Nissa could also be a nice way to kind of pressure them. Elspeth can kill an Ugin after they play it. Bloodchief first handled their Stone Coil pretty nicely. Vivien can help us rebuild. Grakmaw is nice. I'm sure they have lots of target removal, especially they'll probably bring some more in after they saw how many creatures we had. So I think the Harbinger could be pretty good. You know, Grakmaw obviously doesn't really do much if they just Extinction Event us, but this always protects us from spot removal and gives us some card draw. It's probably fine. We have 3 lands here. We're missing a second black source for this Murderous Rider, but we have a temple to maybe scry into something. So I'm just running a ton of Shadow Spears because they've had it both times. Polukranos is nice, but just need more lands here, I think. There's the Field of Ruin, so that's why we have the basics in here. Okay, is this your first time playing this deck, opponent? Do you not know how Shadow Spear works? You can't Field of Ruin until you have another land. They seem very confused here. Not sure what you could have to play here on turn 2 that's so exciting. Stone Coil for 2. In that case, we'll play Bloodchief Thirst and play the land tapped. Treacherous Blessing, just for some card draw. Cool. It's on turn 3, so we're going to be taking a fair amount of damage here. We'll just play the Ooze here and eat their Stone Coil. Also protects us from a Heartless Act, in case they're running that. And Grim Tutor. So they're going to take 1 life from the Blessing, plus 3 from the Tutor. Okay, they played an Ozolith. I doubt that's what they want to go fetch up. I should understand the point of Ozolith here if you're not actually doing anything with it. Like, you have so few creatures. We'll just hold up here. We're not going to overcommit into an Extinction Event. So unfortunately we don't have Murderous Rider open to us right now, but we'll next turn. Perfect, they just tap out to Grim Dancer. Not that it matters, but we'll eat up their graveyard. Just in case they have some effect that we don't like to get cards back. I can't think of anything that would do that in mono black for sorceries and whatnot. So we got to kill something, eat something, swing for 4, put them down to 7. And if they don't have rule, we can just keep doing it. Another land is interesting, but I think I'll bottom that. Probably just gonna hold up these Murderous Riders and not really have much else to do. And same thing with Nullpriest. They're gonna have a way to kill it. Kill our creature here, I'm sure. Obviously, Extinction Event, Nullpriest doesn't really do a whole lot. But them both being even, there's another reason not to play. Instead of trying to equip a Shadow Spear, they just tap out for a full Stone Coil. And man, if there were one more creature in the graveyard, we would have game over. Unfortunately, they have not killed anything of ours. Unfortunately, right? So yeah, kind of a weird mono blacklist. Obviously, I'm sure they're just a Ugin deck basically, and we got them before they got the Ugin, which is obviously the key. And not much ramp in mono black either. You know, Solemn Simulacrum and that sort of thing. But hey, we'll take it. All right, against Umi, gonna go first. 3 lands. Some playable 3-drops here. Yeah, Bloodchief Service is always good. No 1-drop. I was hoping they would play something that we could kill. So with Gargaroth, we'll play this as a green source. Not sure I'm worried about the Grazer yet, so we'll go ahead and drop the Grakmaw. Get our own threat on the board. Abzan. Okay, Banishing Light, Grakmaw, that does the trick. We can always get it back though. No, I think we just take their creature off the board and force them to find something else to do. Oh, rampant over there. Grazer number 2. Is that the Agadeem's? Yep, Agadeem's Awakening. Oh, we're missing land drops, unfortunately. Don't necessarily want to use a Mythos on a Marasa Root Grazer. Fired off on Banishing Light. See if we get our Grakmaw back. Block the Grazer. Oh, they're an Abzan, so I mean they could definitely have some instant speed interaction for us. But we'll try. See what they got. 4 cards in hand? No? Okay. So we got a Banishing Light and the Grazer. Bloodchief's Thirst with Kicker. So we got a 3/3. Oh man, Questing Beast, and we're just still stuck on lands. Well, we're gonna swing for 3. We've got the kill spell open to us. Just looking for lands here, please. Everybody's favorite card, Scoot Swarm. I mean, they're out of cards. Go Questing Beast and really just try to put the clock on them. Just swing for 4, I think. That's some mutate shenanigans or something. Might need to hold back this token. No, just Bloodchief's Thirst. An attack here? No attack. We'll Gargaroth here. Get some value off of that. I'll see if they want to attack. Block with Gargaroth in play. Nope. Rose. Okay, that'll shut down some of our recursion, which is annoying. It can kill Gargaroth here. Let's swing both. We got Murderous Rider open to us. I get 3/3. Just try to pressure them. Thought they might try to go for the Gargaroth block, but Rose can go. Followed our retreat with an empty hand. Okay, so just some Abzan, landfall type shenanigans. Alright, so obviously we don't like Felidar Retreat or Scoot Swarm, so we need to make sure we have the instant speed removal open to us. If they do go off with Scoot Swarm, probably need those Shadow the Skies though. Rose does make some of our spells a little bit weaker. So we'll go ahead and shave off the Polukranos so we don't get stuck with it in our graveyard. We've seen the Bloodchief's Thirst as their removal, so if they're leaning on black removal, then Garruk's Harbinger could be pretty sweet. I feel like we also need these Banishing Lights. What to take out though? We do have Mythos of Nethroi also. Alright, if we're doing Shadow the Sky, I think we'll shave off the 2-drops. And just force them to commit. I mean, if they're playing Scoot Swarm, they're gonna be playing out all their creatures. So we just need to make sure we have answers for what they're doing. So not too worried about shaving a couple early 2-drops off, so we kind of naturally will be slow playing creatures on our end to set up a better Shadow the Sky, basically. There's Shadow the Sky. It's not amazing, but it is a pretty interesting hand, so we will keep it. Opponent with a mulligan. Alright, we have to turn to Chevill. A little awkward not having double white, even though we have all these potential white sources in hand. There's Symbiosis, so I think we kind of have to play that as a green source so we can save up Pathway as a white source for the Shadow of the Sky, or Elspeth Conquers Death. Alright, we'll just hold open Murderous Rider here. Although most likely we're just going to try to put a counter on something first. Okay, opponent scoops it up. I guess they were stuck on lands. Alright, that sucks. But pretty good game one, though. Up against Metallizator. So we have a nice, exciting match here. Fair magic is the best magic, you know, that back and forth where you feel like your decisions actually matter, you know. Obviously some of these bans, it kind of feels like we've gotten back more to that. But power creep is still a thing, though. Don't think we can keep this, like all these 5-drops. And don't even have the right lands with black mana. Keep this, put one of the pathways away. So we have everything is playable. Just need some removal spells to actually start drawing some cards with Chevill. Assuming our opponent is playing creatures, of course. Jeskai Triome. Okay, control. There's a land. Do we need another white source? I'm going to bottom that. Eventually we'll need more white mana. Obviously we'll have to play one of these on black to get our Chevill down. Of course our opponent probably just counters and kills everything we play, and then they drop like a Narset or something. Shark Typhoon us to death. Baneslayer is pretty good. Obviously, we do need that second white source, and we get it needing up to 5 mana. So apparently, the game really wanted us to have a Baneslayer Angel this time. Had our opening hand, which we couldn't keep, and now we drew into it quickly. Against what appears to be a control deck, so life gain not really super important. Okay, Scorching Dragonfire, gotta love that. Exile removal. Alright, Grakmaw. Get Dragonfired, buddy. Probably need to slow roll our creatures and not give them an easy Shadow of the Sky here. So we'll just make them deal with the Grakmaw before we add another creature to the board. If they kill Grakmaw, we'll play the Ooze. Unless we find untapped land, then we can play our Lieutenant. I don't know, they running Scorching Dragonfire. They happen to have 2 in their hand that were perfectly timed for our threats. Gotta love that. Basri's Lieutenant. You can pay Fabled Passage and cast the Essence Scatter here, maybe. If I were a control deck, I'd definitely be running a couple Essence Scatters in the main. Creatures seem pretty popular. I mean, they're always popular, but there's plenty of creatures to counter, so Essence Scatter definitely seems main deckable. Opponent is playing super slow over there. I mean, if you're going to kill this opponent, you can always do it quickly instead of just sitting here. Yep, Petty Theft, I saw that coming, you know. You're not surprising anybody with any of your moves. Wow, Instant Speed, Rain of Revelation. So they're looking for another land here. Or Sorcery Speed, Rain of Revelation. Discarding the Mystical Dispute. Now they found a land, a tap land though. Well, we get to resolve a Basri's Lieutenant, but they probably have a Banishing Light or something like that. Care about Baneslayer Angel? We have one in hand. They have a petty Brazen Borrow, which can only block flyers, so I feel like we just kind of get stifled. There's a Narset that we expected them to have. They discard a Shark Typhoon and kill our Lieutenant. We just get a 2/2, and then we can kill the Narset. Nope, they just uptick, gain some life. We have to attack Narset so they don't get value off of it. They continue to keep their life total healthy with removal spells in hand, so this is going to be an uphill climb for sure. I think we just Vivien here. That's kind of our best. Wow. Go Reach. Give us some protection from the Brazen Borrower. If they tap out here, we can Elspeth the Narset. So maybe we should have played Vivien first, knowing Narset was coming. Also does take them off of down ticking though, so So wasting that attack on Narset isn't the worst. Needleverge Pathway. Banishing Light on Vivien. Alright, so Elspeth conquers death. Maybe on their Banishing Light, because Vivien could be pretty key here against the control deck. 4 mana open though. They probably have another Mystical Dispute since they already discarded one. Or at least some other counter spell. Neutralize would be pretty likely as well. Okay, they just give us the Shatter the Sky. Or the card draw. Okay, we can tack down their Narset and kill it. So getting some sweet value off the Basri's Lieutenant. And then we'll Elspeth their Banishing Lights. Get our Vivien back, make a 3/3, make them deal with that. Again. And we get our Lieutenant back. Stay still with the reach. Okay. So we're doing okay. We still have 4 cards in hand, so we definitely have a chance here, but it's not going to be easy. Of course, control player is going to play nice and slow. At least they played the Brazen Borrower there. Make it so they basically can't counter us. That feels pretty good. Alright, so we got a land on top. That's not amazing. I think we just deal with the Borrower, honestly. Don't even give him a chance to really do anything to our Vivien here. Definitely don't want to add any creatures to the board, so I'm fine with just playing a kill spell. Make them deal with our board first with Storm's Wrath or another Shatter the Sky. I'm sure they're running at least 2 of Shatters. Wow. We got a free Basri's Lieutenant back. Put the counter on the Knight. Okay. Probably should have read that first. Okay, it's any creature. Doesn't matter if it's token or whatever. Well, we'll attack. If you're just going to hold up counter magic, then I'll just keep upticking our Vivien here. Guess we can play the land. That way next turn we have 6 mana open, we can cycle and Mythos, maybe. So definitely don't want to throw our Gargaroth or Baneslayer Angel into a board wipe here, or a counter spell. You can't counter what's already been cast, my friend. It's up to you to find a way to deal with our board. Let's see, do we have lethal on board? Yep. We got 6, 9, 12 just with the tokens. It wasn't Basri's Lieutenant. 3 cards in hand. I'm guaranteed one of them is a counterspell. Neutralize and/or Mystical Dispute guaranteed in their hand. If they had the board wipe, they would have played it already, although they're playing super slow. But the way they're eyeballing our creatures, they probably have some spot removal or another Brazen Borrower here, doing a Petty Theft. Ultimatum. So they're going to gain 5 more life. Alright, well, I mean, they're virtually tapped out. They buy themselves quite a bit of time, though. Chevill doesn't really do too much against their deck. 16. So 3, 6, 9. I think I missed lethal. Oops. All right. I missed lethal there. Well, they're down to 1. If they basically tap out here, then we can still get them. Gain a life up to 2. On Narset, they can go up to gains 2 life, so up to 4. So hopefully they just shadow the sky here. So basically what I need to do is I need to minus on Vivien, play the Gargaroth, get a Questing Beast, and kill them. Perfect. We'll take out the Narset while we can. Go ahead and cycle this. ECD. Perfect. Alright, minus. Elder Gargaroth. Questing Basri. Alright, just got control. Nice knowing you. Whew. That was pretty rough. Alright, so Chevill against a creatureless deck. Not really doing a whole lot of good for us, so that's where the Agonizing Remorse can shine. Bloodchief's Thirst is okay, but I'd rather have instant speed interaction. Arachnids can help against the Shark Typhoons, I guess. Only 1 Bloodchief's Thirst then does give us some nice cheap interaction for the tokens, the shark tokens. And they're not really running black removal. Obviously they're just guy. Chain Web, not really too good. Soul Guide, don't think we need that. Anything else that's not good in this matchup? Vivien's fantastic. Gargaroth is fantastic. Elspeth. Baneslayer is okay. Polukranos is okay. And Nissa is pretty good. Questing is amazing. These two are pretty solid. Yeah. Just hope we find a Agonizing Remorse at the right time. I would have grind them out pretty nicely there. Just kind of slow rolling some of our creatures, not to overcommit to their Shatter the Skies, which we knew was coming. So Narset is sort of a win condition. Genesis Ultimatum, or not, it's not Genesis. Wherever the Jeskai Ultimatum is kind of not really a win condition, because how do you get your opponent down to 5 life to kill them? So I'm assuming they're just running mostly Shark Typhoons as their main win condition. Or just boredom, you know, just counter everything and hope your opponent concedes. Or falls asleep and lets the timer run out. Alright. So obviously you can play control if you want. We do some of it here on the channel as well, so just obviously not meant to be taken seriously. Turntimber would be great later. We kind of have 5 lands. I think we'll bottom that. I mean, probably draw another land anyway. So let's go Temple here. A bit of a slower hand, but we'd have some nice removal if they try to be a little more aggressive. Nope. Looks like they're off to a slow start. We do have a Questing Beast. I guess we'll take a Triome. Just to guarantee that 5th land and Triome with that fixing. Seems pretty good. Alright, opponent probably hung up counter magic though, so we'll have to kind of play around that. So probably not just gonna jam the Questing Beast unless they play something here. Which they do not, so we will not. Let's see, 2 Temple of Malady and Triumph, so we can play this as a white source. Hope we can get them to just jam at Narset, and then we can pick it off. Oh, I totally meant to play that as white, and then I just see, I see black, and I'm just like get all excited because like black is probably the color I play the most. That's alright. We weren't playing as Baneslayer Angel anytime soon anyway. Our opponent's just building up millions of cards over there. Alright, Grakmaw, get countered. Trying to figure out which counter spell to use. Or if they want to let it resolve and then kill it. A Mystical Dispute. Play Scavenging Ooze, just get a creature on the board. 2 mana open, then probably have Scorching Dragonfire or something here. But we have millions of cards in hand, so we'll just throw a couple creatures down. Resolves, and they haven't killed it yet. Cool. They do have a Scorching Dragonfire. Wait until the end step, even though we were tapped out. Opponent over there just playing by the rules, you know. Wait till your end step, and then you can fire off your kill spell. Don't do it too soon. Alright, pretty slow start here, so definitely gives them an advantage, kind of build up counters and removals. Alright. Temple of Plenty, what do you got? I don't need a Triome. 2 creatures in hand, not really in a rush to get either one of these on the board. They just play Shark Typhoon as a enchantment, but Mythos of Nethroi lets us kill anything we want. So they basically just wasted it instead of getting cycling value off of it. I guess since they're tapped out, we'll play a Baneslayer Angel, just get something on the board. They probably have a kill spell though. Well, of course they have a kill spell. Man, do we want Elspeth Conquers Death? Do we have anything in our yard? We have a Grakmaw. I think we'll actually bottom that. Since our graveyard's not really full, then they have lots of exile removal. And they don't even have anything on board. And if they did, we had Eat to Extinction, we got the Murderous Rider. Okay, 3 cards in hand, so they bounce it just so they can counter it, I would assume. So we have exactly 7, so we don't have to play anything here. I go for the Scry rather than trying to play the Brazen Borrower as a creature. So they have another Shadow of the Sky, or they just want to really fix their draws here. Got some nice value off Frantic Inventory though. Getting some life, up to 22. Emeria's Call. Alright, Baneslayer Angel will get countered. Neutralize, yep. Guaranteed they have more removal spells. Or counter spells. Even though we're in Abzan, I'm sure they still have Mystical Dispute in their deck, since they really love, I'm sure they love counter spells. I should say counter spells are a critical part of what they're trying to do over there. They've drawn a million cards, but they haven't been able to apply any pressures. That's definitely giving us a chance. But they have counters and kill spells over there, so... We'll jam Emeria's Call. Better than discarding, you might as well get countered, right? Of course, opponent slow rolling their plays. Playing the Brazen Borrower first. Sure. Okay, they do not. We'll hold up the Hagra Mauling still. So I have another Petty Theft. Yep. Alright, so we got those out of the way. Land. 2 more cards in hand. You gonna play something? Where's your Planeswalkers at, dude? You had multiple Narsets last time. Finally found your Shark Typhoon. Shatter Skull Smashing. Okay, 1 card in hand. Probably a counterspell. I'm going to try to deal with these borrowers first. So we're at 14. Alright, we can't use Hagra Mauling on a Planeswalker, so we will fire it off here. If it gets countered, we can at least kill the other one. You get to kill both of them. Perfect. Do go down to 12, but we'll clear their board and see what they can scry into here. They gotta find a Planeswalker soon. Or a Shatter the Sky. Maybe that's the last card, is a Shatter. Bottom. Okay. It's good for us. I'm fine with doing that on our turn because don't want them to draw into anything. Okay, just the 1 card holding up in hand. Thinking about doing something here, bud? Alright. Play you. Scry first, sure. Top. Oh, I found some stuff that they like. We'll go in Questing Beast. Alright, finally putting some pressure on them. One, two, three, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'll hold the Triome to cycle it. We have a good number of lands in play. And Murderous Rider, Mythos of Nethroi are pretty efficient removal spells. Whatever our opponent draws into. Won't be surprised we're holding Shatter here, though. The double Brazen Borrower kind of leads me to believe maybe that's not it, but we'll see. Okay, they have single target removal. They're looking at both our creatures, so I guess they do not have Shatter. Okay. It's kind of a weird thing about Arena is that highlights the cards your opponent's looking at. Obviously, in paper, you know, when you're sitting across someone, you can kind of see where their eyes are going, but this feels different on Arena. So they found Shatter Skull Smashing number 2. There's a Swamp. We'll cycle this now, see if we can hit something good. I mean, Nissa. Last card in hand. Okay, they don't seem to have any interaction for us. Nissa dodges Shatter the Sky. There's the Narset. We are tapped down, so we can't deal with it now. A uptick, just to gain some life. Okay, no answer for Nissa. I think we eat the Narset. If they have a counterspell, we have another one. And I'm happy to let that resolve. Okay, going for the Scry first. Still have mana open. Top, bottom. So I found something they liked, but can't draw yet. Nullpriest. Yeah, I think I want a Nullpriest. Go ahead and send our Swamp into the fray. Yeah, we'll play the Temple here. We already know what's on top. Do get the landfall trigger. We'll just hold up these removal spells, so if they do find another Planeswalker, and then we can kick Nullpriest, maybe get a Baneslayer. Okay, playing the Shark Typhoon as an enchantment again. It is a cast trigger. So they do get to make the one shark here. All they can do is uptick to gain some life. Well, we have multiple removal spells. So we have a Nullpriest. Maybe we just Well, I definitely want to deal with the shark. Murderous Rider. We just keep Narset in check, and then next turn we can kind of go off with the Nissa's minus. We do have a Mythos of Nethroi as well if they do find another permanent. But we'll let them gain some life here. Let's see what they got. Chandra's Incinerator. Okay. And a Scry. So yeah, putting that Castle of Vantress to good use. Look at that. Got the warning here, playing so slow over there. Incinerator must be a sideboard card. I'm not sure if we're really the deck to bring that in against. Doesn't matter. Alright. So Nullpriest kicked, getting back Baneslayer Angel maybe? We're going for it. If they top deck a Shadow Sky, that'll be pretty sad. But we're going for lethal here. Questing Beast can kill the Narset. Opponent's down to 10. We got some kill spells, so if they do find another shark or something, then so they basically have to have Shadow the Sky, but even then we have a Nissa, and at least we have the Murderous Rider that we can play as a threat as well. What's crazy is they still have all their timeouts, but they've just been slow playing just enough. Last card, opponent. What do you got? If it's a Shadow of the Sky, just do it. You're gonna rope. Frantic Inventory. Why not just fire that off? You have no control over what you draw. Just fire it off, see what you draw into, and then you can sit there and think about your options. Or think about all the things you've done to put you in this position. I'm getting desperate. Cycling the Neutralize. I mean, they still have cards here. Chandra's Incinerator. Yeah, we'll see if this resolves. Whew. Resolved immediately. Uptick. Unless they have Settle the Wreckage, it should be game. Wow. Jeskai Control, man, that was quite the match. Whew. All right. So a couple interesting first couple matches, but then match number 3 against Jeskai Control, that was pretty sweet. So yeah. Let's go over the list one more time here. Oh, we got a card. Rally for the Throne. Sure. Already had a million of those, but... Right, Abzan Midrange. This is my take on it. It's more of a value pie, lots of like 1 and 2 ofs, but you know, lots of little synergies here and there. And just kind of some of the better options you can be playing in Abzan. And thanks to the Hagra Triomes, Abzan is a fantastic option if you are going to go into 3 colors. Obviously, the ones that did not get the Triomes, that's a little awkward if you're trying to play 3 colors because the pathways, while they're nice, they can be a little awkward, you know, when you have like double black, double green, things like that. But thanks to Triome, it definitely smooths out a lot of that. But yeah, we just have pretty much solid options every step of the curve. You know, some nice lines where we can be we can kind of be the aggressor, which is kind of the style of a true mid-range list. You know, starting with Chevill and Nullpriest, they work really well together because you know you can kill your opponent's creatures, even if it's just the one creature and they just have one creature behind. Well, they can't block a menace threat, so Nullpriest works pretty well. And then of course, if you top deck this against removal heavy decks, you just get one of your creatures back unless it's exile removal, which obviously kind of sucks. Not much you can do about that. But you know, Grakmaw, Basri Lieutenant with a counter synergy, Polukranos fitting in there as well. You also have Turntimber Symbiosis puts counters on things potentially, and then Nissa getting stuff back with counters. So lots of nice little synergies. Elspeth Conquers Death also puts counters on your creatures as well. And then just good value creatures, you know, Gargaroth, Questing Beast, Basri's Lieutenant. Baneslayer Angel is a fun one that just doesn't really see a whole lot of play, but still pretty solid creature, especially with all the kind of creature-heavy decks and aggro that's running around right now. Baneslayer Angel seems like it could be pretty in a pretty good spot. And since we are, you know, a little bit higher up on the curve, we are definitely in a position to cast Emeria's Call and Turntimber Symbiosis here for 7 mana. But also gives us that flood protection because we do want to get to, you know, 5 mana for our Vivien, Gargaroth, you know, etc. But you don't want to really flood out and draw too many. And if you do find, you know, 7 lands, if you're on a grindier matchup, then that's where the Emeria's Call and the Turntimber Symbiosis are going to matter. You know, you need to dig deep into your library in those matchups where you get to 7 lands to actually play the Turntimber Symbiosis to dig for that creature when your opponent has tons of removal. You know, you need to dig for those angel tokens and giving the rest of yourself indestructible if you're kind of in a board stall situation. So definitely can shine in this matchup, in this list, this build. I've definitely gotten some pretty sweet value off of these creature spells. Emeria's Call in particular has really saved me against other creature-based matchups where I was having a rough time. It gave me indestructible with my Gargaroth, able to swing in, get those sweet attack triggers. And you know, your opponent can't really attack into you because you still have the indestructible until your next turn. So that's pretty sweet. Obviously, you can kind of tweak this a little bit here and there, but I feel like it's even though it kind of looks maybe a little bit random on paper, it feels like it works pretty well as the with these particular ratios. Just enough removal to kind of give your creatures a chance. Sideboard, you know, kind of tweak it to what you're seeing in the meta. I feel like exile removal was pretty important, so we have the E2 extinctions. Obviously, we know rogues are going to be a thing until they rotate, so we got the Harbinger, the Arachneer, which work really well against them. Banishing Light, just kind of some versatile removal. We do have, you know, obviously the Mythos. We have E2 extinctions and things like that, so maybe we don't need Banishing Lights necessarily. Maybe this could be something else. Having maybe some more interaction for the control matchups, though we did pretty well against that Jeskai list, so that was pretty good. But maybe like Kitesail Freebooters could come in. You know, it could be a consideration, but Banishing Light's kind of a nice safe option because it does give you exile, which can be pretty important, especially if your opponent is not in the colors that can deal with enchantments, you know, like mono red or something like that. And then yeah, definitely need Shadow the Skies for like the Scoot Swarms or any, you know, crazy stuff like that. And Soulguide Lantern, you know, we do have the Scavenging Ooze, but there are still some cycling decks. I think there was still one of the decks that was featured at a recent tournament I saw. It was still on the list, so, you know, still have to worry about the Boros cycling. You know, it's a real budget-friendly list, and so that could still be a thing. But maybe we cut down to 1 Soulguide Lantern since it's not heavily played. At least not anywhere near what it used to be. And we do have the Agonized Remorse that potentially could come in against those matchups to take out a Zenith Flare. as well. So maybe just some more hand hate for Soul Guide Lantern. Maybe a third Scavenging Ooze for those matchups where it matters. But I like Soul Guide Lantern as an option, but maybe in this particular build, since we already have the Ooze in the main, maybe we could just shave at least one of these for something else. Banishing Light could be something else, maybe more geared towards the control matchups. But otherwise, yeah, I feel like the Harbinger, definitely Shadow of the Sky, E2 Extinction of the Exile removal. These all feel very, very important, in my opinion. I definitely will not look at changing these, but, it kind of depends on what you're facing off against. So overall, the deck is pretty solid. It's going to definitely hold its own in the ranked play queue up to a certain point. But if you're trying to grind all that to Mythic, probably not quite what you're looking for. You definitely do well. I mean, if you stick with it, it could definitely get you up fairly high, I would imagine. Relatively high, I should say. Obviously, I'm just in Platinum. That's kind of where I typically hang out. Maybe if I feel motivated and got some decks in particular I feel really strong about. When I'm not too busy brewing jank, then I might try to get up to Diamond sometimes. So it can always get you up to Diamond, I would imagine. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. And if you have any suggestions on how to maybe tweak this deck to your liking, let me know. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next one. All right. Till next time, make sure you jank with a